And like it or not, all is not well in what's left of Christian America. I'm just stunned here. I mean, that Donald Trump, the Trump administration's Food and Drug Administration, just greenlit a generic version of the abortion drug mifepristone. The abortion pills that we were talking about last year, there's a new version of it that's been approved. This is not an election year. And there's a lot of people who are really furious, and rightfully so, by this.
Imagine popping a pill at home to end a pregnancy, and now the government just made it even easier. The FDA has approved a second generic version of the abortion drug mifepristone. It's from Avita Solutions, a telehealth provider. This could ramp up medication abortions nationwide. Mifepristone first hit the market in 2000. Today, it's used in about 63% of U.S. abortions, way up from 39% in 2017. That jump ties to looser rules like skipping in-person visits and Roe v. Wade's fall shutting down clinics. But conservatives are erupting in anger. Senator Josh Hawley calls it shocking. He's blasting the FDA for pushing ahead amid a promised safety review. Hawley wants Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and FDA Commissioner Marty McCary to probe the drug's risks. Still, anti-abortion groups like SBA Pro-Life America are ripping it as reckless. They warn it'll flood the market with cheap pills that endanger women and ignore state laws.
So, no, friends, you got to look at this honestly, right? If we're really going to come up with a solution, it's like alcoholics. You got to admit you got a problem if you're a substance abuser before you can ever fix it, right? We have a big problem. And now we've all moved on. We're all adults. There's no Kamala Harris around to blame for this one. This is not an election year. You know, we all hoped and prayed that they were going to really do something about the abortion pills, which account for most of the abortions in this country. And now it's going the other way. So it's Christmas for everybody because we're all just excited about our borders being finally, protected. That's great. We got a lot of things on the goodies list that are going our favor, and we're all really excited about that. But guess who's not excited? Guess who's not? It's not Christmas. For whom it's not Christmas? The babies again, Babies are dying all over the place. Babies are being murdered all over this country more than ever before, whether we like it or not. For them, America's not being made great again. America is not great again, not for them. It's getting worse and worse. So on the moral front, friends, which is the way we get out of this, this is where the true restoration, our salvation, our help is in the name of the Lord and His morality and His church and His word. That's the only way out of here. And we're all becoming, in the name of conservatism, de facto liberals. Woke liberals, if we don't be careful, if we don't do something right now. And again, you saw what Pope Leo said with respect to Cardinal Cupich and Dick Durbin and abortion, and you can see where the problem is.
Someone who says I'm against abortion but says I'm in favor of the death penalty is not really pro-life. So someone who says that I'm against abortion but I'm in agreement with the inhuman treatment of immigrants who are in the United States, I don't know if that's pro-life.
The Catholic Church has no confidence in her own moral teaching, so I'm perfectly happy to lay the blame where it belongs as a traditional Catholic at the feet of this Church of Vatican II, this Church of Accompaniment. That's the problem, but we still have to deal with the fallout, with what it means. Because we're living here. Our children are growing up here. And on the moral front in America, it's moving the wrong direction. Friends, it truly is. Yes, I too would prefer not to have men on my daughter's, ballet class or soccer team. We get that. We're pretty strong on that one. But what about everything else? What about abortion pills? What about gay marriage? Nobody even talks about it anymore. What about premarital sex? What about divorce? All these moral issues that we don't even talk about them anymore. And this is with conservatives at the helm. Conservatives are doing this now. They're just ignoring all the stuff that matters most. And we need to stand up and fight back as Catholics. We need to open our eyes, have tough conversations like this, stand up and fight back before the asteroid hits. Before when the Son of Man returns, He finds no faith. Because we just spit it all away. We just let it all go in the name of staying safe. Right? Can't do that. We've got to stop the bleeding. And you say, yeah, but man, Bill Maher and so many liberals are, they're Democrats. They're warming up to the Trump agenda and everything. Well, of course they are, friends, and why wouldn't they? Do you remember what we've been saying for about 30 years? That when it comes to that diabolical Democrat Party, what was the most important thing for them? A woman's right to choose since 1973. Abortion. It's always been about the diabolical blood anti-sacrament of abortion. That's all they ever cared about. That's the only thing that ever divided us, truly. Everything else is window dressing. When Kamala Harris and the insufferable Tim Walz decided they were going to start running their campaign before the last election cycle, where did they do it? In a Minneapolis Planned Parenthood. That's where they met. That's where they had the press. That's where the press conference was when they kicked off their thing. It's always been about abortion. So if the good guys, if the GOP, if the Republicans, if the pro-lifers, if they give up on that front, well, there's no problem for the Bill Mahers and for the Democrats and for everybody else out there to say, you know what, let's go over here where we can keep our goodies a little bit more than we can these crazy lunatic Democrats. You see what I'm saying? They're joining us because essentially we're becoming them. We're becoming them. Especially on issues such as abortion and gay marriage. We've given up. And as we know from our history books, when it comes to infanticide and homosexuality, that's the end. That's the sign. That's a telltale sign of the end of a civilization every single time. And we need to have that out so that we can maybe apply influence to the present administration, right? We have to have these conversations. And I'm out of time, so this is something we're going to talk about for a long time here over the next few months. But I just want to say in closing, there is